At the helm of Africa's biggest stock exchange since the start of this year, the first woman to be appointed to this position. You're no stranger to the local bourse, though. I mean, you've been there, 15 years. How are you feeling at the start of this new year?
I really am enjoying the start of the new year. I've had lots of opportunity to think about the year ahead, the years ahead. I'm enjoying the discussions with my colleagues. We're about to go through a big exercise, re-looking at everything that we do. So I'm really excited.
Let's get into that re-look at things because, of course, you know, life in the industry is fast changing, and so the evolution of the JSE will be a natural one. Let's go through some of what's on the agenda there, because one of the aims of the JSE is to expand the bourse's range of products and services, and that including attracting more inward listings. What's your sense of the appetite that's out there right now?
Well, it hasn't been a great environment globally for new listings, but there's definitely increasing investor appetite for new types of investment products, because as markets are uncertain, investors are looking for new places, new ways to invest. Our role as the exchange is to have those products and services. So some of that would be new listings, like inward listings, foreign companies that list in the JSE, African product. I think things like exchange traded funds and those type of products are also going to be a big part of what we do. And then in the services space, Alishia, it's got to be around risk, really. I think uncertain markets and the advent of Basel III is going to mean that our really large clients are going to worry about how risk is managed in relation to their investments. I think we have a big role to play there.
Yeah, well, we'll be getting into that in just a bit. Before we do, part of the plan in terms of expanding, and you touched on it slightly there, is to offer more access to African companies and products such as ETFs. So let's look at that collaboration, because with the rules of inward listings being relaxed, that one would assume would attract more inward listings. But what potential are you looking at from the African continent?
Well, we have a team of people that speaks to potential African issuers. There are a lot of extremely interesting companies on the continent that are very vibrant in their local markets. But the fact remains that an average day's trade on the JSE is more than the annual trade on a market such as Kenya. So for a really top Kenyan company, as an example, to be able to be traded in any size by any investor, they really have to be traded outside Kenya. And the role for us is to partner with those companies, and preferably also with Kenyan regulators and the exchange, to offer the opportunity for big investors to trade those type of stocks here in South Africa. And we already have 14 equity African issuers on the JSE. We have 2 African debt instruments and 1 ETF. So we're already starting to make progress in that regard. Our big clients are very, very interested in African investment opportunities. I think that's a wonderful way for the JSE to be part of the story of unlocking the continent.
It's certainly African investment opportunities that's attracting other, foreign list or domiciled companies to the JSE, boosting the status of South Africa's bourse as a springboard, for foreign companies to expand into Africa. Has been National Treasury announcing that local investors would be able to trade in these companies. So let's look at the avenue that opens up for your plans to attracting more inward listings in general.
Thank you. I think Treasury has done an amazing job in managing the macroeconomic policy and direction of this country, and the relaxation on inward listings allowing us to essentially put them in our domestic indices, because local investors will be able to use their local savings to invest in those companies, is critical. So for the first time, big international companies will be able to be in our benchmark indices. And that's important because it means that they will attract more transaction flow by virtue of the tracking funds that follow the indices. So we already have BAT in our top index now. And of course, it creates the opportunity for us to position the JSE as a very viable place for internationally domiciled companies to come, because South Africans are looking to diversify their investment opportunities, and to do that using the JSE, using their domestic savings, is obviously something that will mean that those companies, once they're in our indices, should attract more attention from the investors.
Nikki, in 2011 we saw about 15 companies delist last year. That was offset by the number of listings that we saw, where we attracted 16 new listings. What kind of pipeline are we looking at venturing into 2012?
We definitely have a pipeline. We never talk about the numbers. I think that the global markets are still in a state of uncertainty. I certainly think there's a lot that as an environment in which companies decide to are doing business impacts about whether companies are actually going to come to list.
Yep.
So we have people that are actively talking to companies. I think, though, that you have to look at the underlying companies listing in one pool, and you have to look at other types of products, exchange traded funds, derivatives and the like, which we can give access to companies that are, for instance, traded in other markets, but give access to the economic benefit of that using other types of products in South Africa without them actually having to come to list. And I think we're going to have to look quite carefully there.
Well, from an operational perspective, to deal with this envisaged growth, I mean, the installation of a new equity trading engine is in the pipeline as well. Take us through what exactly that entails and why you're going down this path right now.
Well, we use in all of our markets electronic trading, clearing and settlement technology. In our equities market, we have for more than 8 years now been running our trading technology out of London in a relationship with the London Stock Exchange. But it has the significant downside, which is that we have to connect to that technology in London through the subterranean cables off the coast of the continent. And that, in a world of high-speed trading, just makes us too dependent on latency, so slower trade than our clients and ourselves would like. So we're bringing that technology back. We're going to be running it here in South Africa. That will enable us to actually increase the speed on which our clients can trade. The technology itself is 400 times faster than the current technology, and the linkages between our clients and our core technology will be but a matter of kilometers, and in some cases, once we've opened up our co-location facilities, meters, so you can see it'll be a lot faster than currently.
Does that mean then less of the outages that we experienced last year, which were linked to those technical issues on the transatlantic cable? I mean, we had trade halted on the equity markets at least twice last year, which led to the exchange attracting quite a bit of criticism from trading houses out there.
Yes, certainly the plan is to increase the uptime of our technology, and yes, once we are we're no longer dependent on the cable around the side of the continent. Obviously, that reduces our dependency on that. Technology that doesn't fail hasn't been developed, but we certainly are working on putting in a trading engine and a whole trading ecosystem, including therefore the networks to the clients, that is as robust as possible.